Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Up to news this morning that the fucking Mariners were dropping hot dogs from the sky.
God, I was like seconds away from making my happy thing too.
As someone who loves hot dogs and grew up as like their favorite book was Claudia with a Chance of Meatballs, I just never thought that I would grow up with that being breaking news. You know what I mean?
Right. And like, here's the thing, right? That was it's a gorgeous video. It's maybe brought me to tears almost.
No,
you know
truly.
what I mean? Like, just beautiful, tiny hot dogs with little parachutes. There were some people in the comments being like, no toppings. I'm like, yeah, dog, no topping. What do you mean? Be grateful for the hot dogs floating from the sky.
Y'all are so fucking disrespectful.
Right? Put some respect on a beautiful wonder happening in front of your very eyes. What happened to Whimsy? Okay? And second of all, like, this is proof it's like, who the fuck needs drones, right? Like, we have the technology. We just put little things on tiny parachutes, and that's beautiful. And it doesn't have the capacity to maybe kill someone.
Someone just quoted it and was like, gave proof through the night that the flag was still And I've never felt any, especially right now, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I have no pride for our country, but, like, in that millisecond, I was like, amen, you know?
Right, yeah. Like, this is what it's all about. This is what our Constitution should be.
Exactly to your point, though, you know what I mean? Especially, like, in Bezos' balls country, right? We don't need drones for this, because that would make that moment really scary. But something about a little parachute, then it's safe. Then it's okay. Anyways, welcome to Into the Twilight.
Hey.
It's Pride Month all year round.
But especially
now. Technically
and especially now.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to all the gays.
Right.
All the Gemini and Cancer cusps going on.
It's just so apropos that Pride Month happens during Gemini season. So you're welcome. We're more insufferable than usual. Do you ever think, I think about this all the time, do you ever think about that time that Entertainment Weekly changed their profile picture to be rainbow?
Oh, and it just said ew. It looked like it said ew. Which, like, honestly, that's the most relatable corporation pinkwashing I've ever seen, right? Because, like, at least, you know, at least that's funny. At least it, like, is actually it's good. Like, I would wear that on a shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would buy all of the merch for that. Like, I don't want to see Lockheed Martin with the rainbow flag. You know what I mean? Like, what is that doing for me?
Ew, you know? Ew.
But ew, with the little rainbow in the back is fucking hilarious. That's what allyship is.
Exactly. No, it's good. I love it.
Yeah.
It just, you know that there was no one involved in that decision-making process. Yeah.
Someone got incredibly reprimanded. It was like, wait a minute, hold on. If I thought about this for 1 second.
But if they had thought about it, you know, like if it had been intentional, it was very good. But oh well.
Yeah.
We here for you here at Into the Twilight.
We here for you so much. Yeah, absolutely.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm here. I love that we're only like 2 days in and already have just incredibly insufferable Pride discourse.
It's so
like,
bad.
We really did it in record time.
Like, as soon as the clock struck midnight, people were like, yeah, so straight people at Pride? And I was like, fucking...
Right. It's like, we just got here. Can we...
I literally texted midnight. Cody, and I was like, I'm sick. I can't. Like...
Right.
My heart physically can't do this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have palpitations right now. You can't do this. We're gonna have to do this for 30 days? Good luck, everyone. Strap in. But I'm chilling. It's been waiting in the wings for the last couple of weeks. I have not brought it in until I've reached certain points of this, but it is important for you to know that I have been watching, for the first time, The Secret Life of the American Teenager.
When in doubt, when the world is so bad, sometimes you need to go back to your roots.
I need Shailene Woodley in just weird striped tank tops and camisoles and really biting her lip in every scene she gets the chance to. I have never properly watched this show front to back. I've watched, like, episodes here and there because my sister was into it, but I never watched it.
This shocked me because you are... Yeah. When I'd make jokes about you being Fox reality TV's biggest supporter, but at your truth, you are a free-form stan.
Yes, it's true. I'm a free-form ABC family. That is my culture, my roots.
Right.
And, like, I even watched Seventh Heaven.
So did I.
I don't know how the leap didn't make it for me there, but I'm here. I'm back. I'm so seated. And it's been an incredibly wild experience.
How's the product placement doing it for you?
God, it's so good. Every, like, flip phone with, like, the entire loading screen of, like, Verizon is really great. Like, they really just focus in on it for, like, a good minute. That's really wonderful to me. I brought this up because it has also now become somewhat used as a Twitter meme now, which is very funny to me. Because this one scene which I've linked, where Shaylin was just basically going on a rant with some very beautiful editing, by the way. Whoever made that video, I owe you my life. It was incredibly well done. Of being like, hey, I had a baby, and my parents are getting divorced, and everything sucks. I'm like, I can't be with my boyfriend. Also, I'm failing English, and my life sucks. And it's poetry. And so that clip is going around, because it's incredible. I watch it, like, 5 times a day to feel something.
I like to think that the Big Little Lies casting director, this is what they chose.
This was the monologue.
It wasn't any of other, like, Shailene Woodley amazing things that she's been in. It was this was the reason why they knew she could do it.
And honestly, facts.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for sure. Totally. And as that clip was going around a lot, like, we made it to that point in the show. So it, like, very coalesced. We found out by another TikTok months ago of a very out of context scene where Shailene Woodley is being like, and by the way, 4th of July is not a gay holiday. And we were like, sorry, what did I...
Oh, I love this show.
What did I encounter here? Like, what is going on in here? So clearly we have to dig deeper here. We have still yet to see that context yet. But we're, like, in the last 2 seasons, so we're almost there.
This was back in the day, by the way, when, like, iTunes used to let you get free episodes of shit. Mm-hmm. So, like, I remember I found out about this, I mean, obviously because I used to watch ABC Family, but I remember I had a free episode of this. I found out about Greek because I had a free episode of that I got on my
Greek
iPod Touch.
Good. I love seeing Molly Ringwald every episode.
Oh my god.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a treat. Jennifer Coolidge is in there for a very long time. But this is giving me the, like, CW vibes. Very inconsequential, but also incredibly serious. Like, oh my god, I'm a junior in high school and everything is the worst day of my life. Like, I hate it here. And I'm a fan. I'm into it.
I remember when I watched it the first time, I used to think, like, wow, they're so dramatic. High school couldn't possibly be this dramatic all the time. But then I, went through high school and then taught high schoolers. And it really do be that dramatic.
It really do feel like that, for sure. Yeah.
Even though a lot of this is, made up for TV, it does feel like that when you're in it. So I don't blame them.
How are you doing?
I'm alive.
Congrats.
I'm here. I'm very excited to tell you about my happy thing this week.
Mm-hmm.
This is also...
Yeah, there's a very beautiful image.
Thank you so much. This is another, similar to yours, this is a happy thing that I had stored away in case of emergency, just squirreled it away. Because I'm still deep in my Beverly Hills watch for the first time.
Yeah, you're working the mines. You're grinding.
I am.
Sure.
I am definitely grinding, that's for sure. But I'm bringing in a true artiste this week named Evan Bode. This is an artist from Mexico who I've linked you here to their Pinterest. They state that they're a filmmaker, a composer, and an animator. I'm not going to talk about any of that today. I specifically want to focus on apparently just one of their hobbies, which is the true art that they make of taking the Muppets and superimposing them into collages, and also some of them with which are animated into a variety of different existing worlds. And I found out about this because I was looking for a collage to update my phone background. And naturally, I stumbled upon this collage of the love of my life, the Count.
Right.
And Twilight. And it was better than anything I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I mean, this is stunning. It's stunning work.
And this is coming from someone who I've always loved to make collages. I made very specific collages for all of my binders in middle school and high school. I had friends who commissioned me to do that for them. I did it all the way into college.
Business owner.
But mine were not this amazingly detailed. And Evan, this is a hobby and not a true calling feels shocking to me.
Right. Like, don't sell yourself short.
Right. I'm looking at a couple here of there's one folder that I have here on Pinterest, which I try not to go into anymore because I do get lost in the sauce quite a bit. But there's one of the Muppets in Titanic, for example, or the Hunger Games. And they've superimposed one of the Muppets onto Peeta's face. And
Yes.
It's, I need these in a museum, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm obsessed with these. These are like, I want every print. These, like, cowboy ones are really...
No,
really
literally.
To me, there's a lot of... Just thematically, like, there's, like, this Miss Piggy, Joan of Arc moment. It's really important, of course.
They're so thought out.
Yeah.
They're so well done. And obviously, like, right now, because it's June, there's a queer Muppet collage moment. But it is not something where, it just makes me think, like, AI could never do this.
Right, yeah, this is pure human creativity.
Only the big brains of a human mind could think to make a Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson mashup with Bert and Ernie collage. Yeah. And that, to me, like, if I had seen this when I was, like, deep in the Tumblr trenches of 2012, this would have been everything to me.
Yeah.
Like, AI couldn't think to do, Harry, where do you want to sit Louis next to you?
Right.
AI doesn't understand.
It's a huge brain. Yeah.
So, I thank you for this gift, Evan. I didn't realize when I was trying to find a new wallpaper that I would stumble upon this literal treasure trove of a genius. Please stop calling this a hobby and calling it your true calling.
Yeah, this is incredible work. Thank you for your service.
I know that I often stumble into this on a podcast of describing a visual medium. Please, for the love of everything that is important.
Yeah. You need this in your life.
Y'all need to go look this up. I'll just say for one more, there's a Muppets in History one where the fucking Muppets are superimposed onto the moon landing.
That's how it happened, by the way. That was...
If I had fucking seen this while I was still teaching... Oh, God. The damage I would have done.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyways, it means everything to me. So thank you for this gift. There's also, like, Evan sells these on Redbubble and stuff, so please support local artists.
For sure.
I need to look away from all these Miss Piggy ones. It means so much to me. We just have a little bit of an update here, especially because we were talking about Sacramento last week.
Yes. What are the odds?
What are the... I love our brains. There's an update here about Sacramento the movie from the local Fox News from Sacramento themselves. Yeah. So thank you.
Always got to find that local angle. You know?
I know, right, exactly. So thank you, Jacques Porter, which is sharing that the film Sacramento is set to premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival on June 8th. So this week, which is great.
It's happening. We're going to see the reviews. We're going to see people seeing it.
I'm very excited about this.
I also do love that this news article did misspell Michael Cera in the first sentence.
You know what? Fuck it.
Listen, local news is hard. Working local news is hard.
Especially last week.
Right,
last week there was a lot of news coming out. I don't blame
There was
them.
a lot of things happening for sure.
Yeah.
But I do love that this piece already had a correction, and then they just were like, you know what? Let's just leave it Michael. No H. We're good. That's... We don't need to do
It's artistic, you know?
Yeah. But I'm very excited for this.
You know what I'm even more excited about?
Yeah.
It's 84 minutes long.
God. Love it. Yes. Absolutely.
Hey, do you think I should fill out on the side of this Sacramento survey asking if I wear glasses? Do you think that'll fuck up our ads at all? I'm gonna close this.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what? Yeah, mine is if I prefer cheaping streaming subscriptions with ads.
Oh.
More expensive ad free option.
I wish there was a button here that says, no, I don't have eyes.
Right. Actually, yeah, I have what is it, in Pan's Labyrinth with the hands? That's my situation.
I wish you hadn't brought that up, because now I'm really... That and Coraline are my two biggest fears.
I love both of them so much, which is why why we work so well, baby.
You know what's like really personally offensive is I see a lot of astrologers compare Gemini Sun and Scorpio Moons to Coraline, and that's so personally fucked up, because I like a lot of his work. I cannot look at Coraline. Right. I have Coraline blocked on every social media site because I cannot with the button eyes. It scares me so bad.
Yeah,
it's fair. The eye stuff, you know, with Pan.
Yeah,
I've seen. Absolutely not. Get the fuck out of here with that. I'm not scared of a lot of stuff, but don't fuck with the eyes. Don't do that.
That's true. It's a very vulnerable spot to be.
That's what,
for sure.
That's what the Vampire Diaries really fucks with me. Like, don't.
Yeah.
Every other part of vampire lore doesn't mess with me. Don't fuck with the eye veins, though.
Right. Yeah. God.
Don't do that. Hey. Why? Can you all... I just pushed up like I had my glasses on. What was that? Hey. If we're gonna get into episodes like this that are really painful, can y'all just do me a solid so I know when to watch them? Because if I don't want to start my morning off with an episode where I'm sobbing and someone who's walking their dog outside where I have my window open, they turn around and are like, what the fuck? Like, I don't need to be, I don't need someone on Nextdoor.
News.
Yeah, I don't need someone on Nextdoor to post being like, hey, I think this woman is like dying inside her house. Yeah. You know?
Some mentally unwell crying from the rafters.
Because I live in the kind of suburb where someone will definitely call the cops if someone is like, if I'm crying. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sure.
Can y'all just tell me, you know? That'd be super great. Thanks. Yeah. How did this episode do you?
I want to jump into the lake and
yeah,
just fall to the bottom. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
God, I mean, there's so many threads here that.
This is the episode they decided to come back from winter break with.
Right, and it feels very like, okay, we're like, let's bring parts of the gang and the story back together and be like, all right, let's like continue with these threads, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Elena being like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. Like, this is my plan. I want to back out. Like, fuck y'all. But also Damon's whole thing with that, and Stefan's whole relationship with that, and also Caroline's thing with Tyler, and also OG buddy boy, already forgot his name, who's back in
Matt.
the picture. Matt, yes. Which honestly is so unserious. Because clearly the Caroline and Tyler thing is like very interesting right now. And like I get it's interesting to like make it a love triangle or whatever. But also it's like Matt has not been present. Matt is like barely here. They've maybe spoken a couple words to each other since then.
Right.
And also, it's like a tortured thing of like, oh, they'll never be on the same page because he's a human, right?
Right.
But like I get what they're doing, but it's also like, can we just explore already what is going to be very interesting, which is Tyler finding out stuff about Caroline and she's not telling him.
The loose threads from last episode, which as a viewer back then was like 6 weeks ago, I find interesting because I assumed last week that Rose was gone. I thought she was going to die like 2 minutes into this episode.
Right. Yeah.
So fuck me, I guess.
Because it did not look good on the scarring. Her back was fucked.
Yeah.
That bite really done her in. We're like, okay, rip Rose, for sure.
But apparently the writers thought like, oh, let's make this an A-plot and really drag it out for Damon's suffering.
Right. Let's really get into how we depict the death of a vampire, which I did think was really interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
even
let's
if it
watch her
felt
be
very,
poisoned and suffer.
Right, yes. But also, like, the dream
Fuck me, dude.
component of it, right? Of, like, I mean, and then it's not, like, part of the process of her dying, per se, but, like, Damon kind of giving her that of, like, let's frolic around with some horses. And you have long hair, and and we're chatting about mortality and being human.
Well, because it's the first time that we've seen him, one, kill someone that he didn't want to, and do it in a way that was merciful.
Right.
And that's really fucked up.
Yeah.
For my well-being.
Yes. Yeah, because it's like, this is not what we've known this man to be capable of.
No.
So far. And the fact that it's happening, it makes my brain hurt and sad.
And I thought, like, with the loose threads from last episode, I thought Elena was done with wanting to die because of the agreement with Elijah, and also she got Stefan back. So I thought that she was all like, oh, I'm done with that now.
Right.
And I thought, falsely, that the descent was going to be Damon this episode and not Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So, fuck me, I guess. Which changed what I went into this episode thinking. I was mentally prepared to watch Damon suffer, which he did. I mean, he did, but I was not prepared to watch Rose be poisoned slowly throughout this episode. Which was...
And, like, lose all sense of herself.
God damn.
People are... Like, the first time when Elena's like, hey, girl, just making sure you're all right. It's not looking too great on your back there. And she's like, oh, hey, Catherine, I'm gonna fucking kill you. You've ruined everything. And she's like, hey, babe, nope, wait. Was very scary.
It was.
Very scary.
And dementia's so painful. Because that's what Jules calls it. She calls it dementia. That is something that's incredibly painful. I've personally experienced it with people in my life.
Yeah.
It is slow and torturous. The way that it's depicted in this 42 minutes is not only incredibly painful, but also terrifying. Because it's happening to someone that isn't human.
Mm-hmm.
Who can,
the stakes are a lot different.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh, here's this gaggle of kids that I accidentally ate. Whoopsie.
Fuck.
It's a little different.
When she finally is, like, lucid on the... I think it was the asphalt. Because I think that happened in, like, the town square when she's looking at Damon and is like, I didn't didn't mean for this to happen. Like, I never wanted to kill anyone. That, it felt, and I know this is just, like, acting, right? It's just because, like, fucking she's good at her job. But it felt like she knew someone who has had this disease before because of the, like, guilt that happened there. It hurt so bad.
Yeah, because that's always, like, the most tragic part of, you know, dementia or Alzheimer's or any of those kind of memory-afflicting things is, like, when you're still in that space where there is moments of clarity and lucidity after the fact.
Yeah.
And that obviously also has a shorter span.
Right.
As it goes on. But, like, that it sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Like, in most moments, being, like, fully, you know, for, you know, all these different reasons, like, detached from certain things, and then being like, oh shit, and then, like, now having all these, like, heavy feelings of guilt and being like, oh, this is, like, not me or what I want to be doing or what I want my brain to be telling me to do,
right?
Or whatever, is tough. It's tough.
And Rose, like, this whole episode, well, I would say, like, throughout her whole character arc, really, has been talking about the fact that she's been on the run. She's a nomad.
Right.
But this episode in particular, because of the fact that she's starting to lose her lucidity, keeps talking about her home. And so in that moment, specifically on the asphalt, when she's like, Damon says, let's go home, and she's like, I haven't had a home in so long, hurt so bad. Because she had been talking to Elena about, because Elena had asked her, like, tell me about your home. That sucked a lot. Ugh. And the writers knew what they were doing, and it was messed up. And I think that's a lot of the reason why that dream sequence had the payoff that it did, is because we knew that this character who, you know, hasn't been able to settle for 500 years, hasn't gotten sick for 500 years, like, finally has a moment where they can, you know, twirl in the sun and take a breather for a second, when you can't do that with people like Elijah and Klaus coming after you. That moment, I will say, that, like, and those last 10 minutes, well, I will say this whole episode, really, but especially that back 10 minutes, very supernatural coded.
I'm sure.
The writers of CW shows know how to play with lighting and pain, and they love a main character who can pull a single man tear.
Yes. Oh yeah. Just a very strong singular tear. Yeah.
And it works. I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
It works.
It gets. It was also not intentionally funny, but it was, and also kind of a little sweet, of after the, you know, sort of attack on the kids and stuff, and she was like, oh shit, like, morning after, whatever, and he's like, hey, you went on a vampire rampage, it happens, shit happens, you know.
I wrote that down, I loved it.
Yeah, it was, like, just a little sweet. It's like, hey babe, it's alright, you know, it's not your fault, like,
Damon would
you
know
didn't
more than
intentionally
anyone.
do this. It's good. Like, I do stuff intentionally all the time. That sucks. So, like, you're good. You're better than I in those respects.
And I will say, like, I was shocked how much for as painful as this was, I was shocked how much I liked this episode, even though Jer and Bonnie weren't in it.
Yeah. I was surprised there was not going to be moments of them in this. I mean, there was a lot going on, but, like, I felt like there was a lot of things to be explored given the break.
I agree. I think that especially because Caroline's plot was at this, like, pep rally thing. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, it would make sense that Bonnie and Jer would be at that because it's a school event. Sure. But I mean, whatever.
Hey, welcome back, another event to this town and school.
I know.
It's actually been more of a minute than it usually is. We love to see it.
Especially about that, like, the conflict, this, like, love conflict between Matt and Caroline and Tyler, I don't care about. I'm not interested in. I think that the impacts that it's having on Caroline, I think, is more interesting, if anything. Yeah. There was a moment at the end of this episode that I thought was really funny where she was like, everyone just needs to stop kissing me.
That delivery was so good. I was like, this is the best line.
I love her so much.
Like, and also, like, yeah, stop, give her a second, okay?
Stop interrupting people
Her
with kisses.
old boyfriend needs to stop meddling in. Her new but not really boyfriend, it needs to just chill the fuck out and, like, let someone in. Can we just give her a second to figure her shit out a little bit?
Especially when I don't know that Caroline is doing this with Tyler because she likes him. I think she's just doing it because she sees someone who needs help.
Right, and she knows what it was like to be alone during this sort of thing. And, like, if Tyler was alone in that situation, it would have been really bad. Probably worse than it was.
Right.
And, like, I think she's like, hey, this is what friends do with we care about each other.
Right.
And it's maybe a little different because we're superhuman creatures, but still the baseline of caring for one another is there. And he's like, okay, so kiss? And she's like, well, can I just... Can
we just be friends? I just don't know that
we just, like...
Tyler has friends, is the thing.
Can I just be, like, your vampire, like, bodyguard, you know? Just, like, your homie, you know? We can just, like, look out for each other, like friends, without confusing each other on other stuff.
His interactions with Jules at the end made me very nervous.
Yeah. Jules is out for fucking blood.
And I get it. I understand that she's a very one-dimensional character right now.
She's got vengeance on the brain and not much else. And you know what? Fine. But her just being like, oh, sweetie. Oh, sweet summer child. You believed Carolyn when she said that she is the only vampire in town? That's funny. That's funny. What if I told you, A, there was a bajillion of them, and they're all annoying and suck. And also, I got my crew that are like us, that are rolling into town, and it's gonna be lit. You in or out, bitch.
Also, they can smell them, which makes me wonder why these chuckle fucks of Stefan and Damon couldn't smell werewolves.
Yeah, I'm fucking confused.
They're
just not tapping into any of their actual vampire abilities ever. They're just hot guys who have a vengeance for blood, but actually don't do any of the vampire stuff outside of that, which is incredibly frustrating. Also,
speaking of which, so I know Damon was, like, very consumed with his anger this episode.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm gonna go fuck up Jules. I don't care if it's in public at this grill. I'm gonna kill her.
Right.
But
just a normal Tuesday, you know?
No, truly. My question is if Stefan is back out, and theoretically he's, like, fine with Elena, and they're, like, dating again or whatever.
Sure.
Why was he immediately like, okay, bye forever. I'm gonna go find your mom. And they both of them were like, I'm gonna leave you with this sick vampire who's dying. And we don't know what the symptoms of this are. You cool?
Right.
Okay, bye.
Like, can you babysit for this 500-year-old vampire who is literally knocking on death's door right now and could be incredibly volatile and hurt you? They always say they got Elena's, you know,
safety.
Like she's always top
number
of
one
mind.
priority.
Yeah. And when push comes to shove, she is the sacrificial lamb at every point.
They don't answer the phone.
No. God, they suck.
They're so bad. They had this girl with, like, the leg of a table hiding in Stefan's room, scared out of her mind. She was doing her best. She, like, opened windows to sunlight.
Sure.
She was, the moment where she dug in her fingers to Rose's wound, nasty. Ooh. Smart, but nasty.
Yeah.
But she was hiding up in there like, oh, I might just die today.
Right. This could be it, y'all. Let's go.
Yeah. Also, I don't know what they're going to do now that their blood freezer is completely empty. So that's not great.
Yeah, she went to town, which honestly, don't know why they didn't predict that. Would be a thing she went for. Y'all gotta get some better locks on that, you know? Or maybe just stop having that shit in public view, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you don't lock your doors, you don't lock your windows. There's no
Right.
security in this house. I don't know what you expected to happen.
We
if
just have our
vampires can smell
just
blood.
very inconspicuous bin of medical contraband that's just chilling
Yeah.
for everyone to look at and use. And y'all just keep inviting vampires into your home. And they're just walking in like it's nobody's business.
This
What are we doing? What are we doing, folks?
This was very important to me as someone who, like, in another world, set design would have been my dream job.
Sure.
I need to talk to you about Damon's room.
Oh my god.
How? Because this is the first time that we've ever seen it.
We're
What did you
actually
think?
getting a proper look 2 seasons in.
Because all we've ever seen is, like, the main areas and Stefan's room.
Yes, like their grand living room.
Yeah.
And all the common areas. But
With all the lights turned on. And they didn't even have, like, Wi-Fi bulbs then. They had to turn those things manually on and off. Sounds exhausting.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot happening here. I'm very particular to, like, just how massive this bed is. Scary looking. Super into that. I'm a big fan.
It was, like, he just kept saying, like, oh, it's just a bed in a room. But it like, the bed was the main focal point in that room.
The bed is the room. Like, all these rooms are ginormous, for sure. But this bed is taking up maybe all of any visual space.
Right. I respect it. And, because we see it for the first time when Elena does. He has an incredibly modern bathroom in this old home.
Yeah.
There's massive bed.
Yeah.
We see Gone with the Wind.
That's
It's like,
true.
you
Yeah.
old motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm so done with you.
Yeah. Also, this, like, fireplace that is, like, as tall as he is. It's bananas.
And
God.
lit art prints in there. He had art with those, like, fancy art lights.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, like, weirdly sterile,
Yeah.
but modern. Whereas Stefan's is more like a library and lived in and dusty. His is like, I don't make a home here.
Right, yeah, it's like he does not live here. He just, like, sometimes sleeps there. I feel like, honestly, Damon mostly sleeps on the couch because it's like, oh, it's 4 a.m. and I need to just, like, rest my little baby eyes for a second and get back to work. But it's, the disparity of the two is very interesting.
I was dying over it. It was very important. I feel like Rose has spent more time in there than he has. Yeah. And that's very important. Mm-hmm. Also, I know that this feels like a bigger change over the last episode to this one. They all have iPhones now.
Yes, yeah. They made the switch.
Yeah.
Like, we got that sweet mid-season break money.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get iPhones. Like,
yeah,
okay.
I saw it when Stefan was calling Isabel. Then I was like, oh, hey, we have iPhones now. That's nice.
Shout out.
Love that.
Technology's moving at the speed of light here. We love it.
And listen, 2011 was a different time. It really was. We were moving and grooving at that time. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I get it. There were a lot of, like, random little bits in here where a lot of, like, city people were dying. Because, like, there was that cop at the start that Jules killed.
Yes.
Rose killed the janitor. Unnecessary. I feel like we see Liz for, like, 2 seconds at the end of this episode. Which Damon delivering Rose was unnecessarily painful. There are two things that I'm curious about. I'm curious about your feelings on Jules saying that there are more werewolves. Because I know that we had said, like, we weren't sure if she was working with Klaus or not.
Right.
So do you think that there's, like, an original werewolf people that she's working with?
I feel like that has to be the case. Like, obviously these two factions can't be unrelated, right? Of this Klaus and original vampire stuff, and also whatever Jules is doing with these werewolves.
It's gotta be.
I think it's right. And like there's even a moment too where like I think it was Stefan who was saying like, you know, about original stuff being like, I don't even really know what that means. And it's like, you motherfuckers. Like you guys are so
it's so embarrassing.
Infuriating. God, this has been like a plot line for your guys' lives for weeks now. Can we maybe pick up a book?
Just no curiosity with them.
Yeah, right. It's like, it's cool. Hey, maybe it's not, though. How about that? And so, like, I feel like surely there is, like, an equal or close equivalent of, you know, Klaus being, like, this boogeyman for original type stuff with the werewolf stuff. But who knows? But surely that feels like that's the next logical move.
That's what I'm thinking. I
like
was
a turf
also
war kind of vibe, you know.
Just gonna turn into West Side Story.
Yeah, right. To get some snapping in there, you know, do a little 1-2 step.
What I would give. I was very confused by Stefan's appearance at the end of this episode. I was hoping that we might get Isabel again, just because I enjoy her. I was very annoyed that we saw John.
Yeah, what the fuck is John doing?
That's not Isabel. That's John. Stefan.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like you said, I was going to get Jenny Schechter from the Outward.
Right.
And you lied to me and you gave me Uncle John.
Why? You said you were going to get Elena's mom and then you got her dad. So what's up?
Right. Yeah,
Why?
I do love too that she's still like Uncle John, being like, fuck you, I'm not calling you dad. You're gonna always be my weird uncle, and that's it. I don't care what the situation is.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, respect.
So I'm nervous because Damon does go off the deep end this episode.
Yeah.
Which I had geared myself up for at the start of this episode, and then it kind of lost the plot a little bit.
Did we miss it? Did we miss emotionally unstable Damon?
No, I don't miss it.
Not dealing with his emotions, but when he does, it's in really poor ways.
No,
we're back.
Because when Elena's like, you feel guilty, and he's like, no, I don't, because that's a human emotion. So obviously not Elena. Don't hug me.
Right.
Because when you hug me, then I start crying. So go away.
Right. I need you to leave because I'm gonna have a category 4 meltdown.
I'm going to go get drunk and lie in the street and fuck with some people.
Like, listen. That scene, objectively sad, right? Just like objectively.
And
But Ian Somerhalder does some work in that really took me out in beautiful and profound ways.
He didn't need to be that funny when he's having a meltdown.
Right. Like, he really put a lot into it. Because, like, this poor woman, like, drives up on the middle of the road or whatever.
She's just trying to get home.
Right. She's just like, I had a long day at work. It's laid out. But also, here's this strange man who's in the middle of the road. Want to make sure if he's okay. Reasonable human being. And he's just out there like, do I need help? I mean, I'm emotionally... Physically, I'm kind of fine. Emotionally, I'm a little fucked up. You want to hear my lore and my story? You want me to regale you for 30 minutes about my lost love and how I never said it out loud before, but I do actually miss being human, and I'll never be able to be what people want from me.
Or I could lie in the street like a deer and wait for a human to come by.
Right. And there's a moment where she like turns around. And he, like, does a little, like, saucy little pose. Where he's, like, laying sprawled on the street where he's just, like, ooh, like, hands feeling, like, that emotion. But, like, with his body language. And it was the funniest fucking choice I've ever seen anyone do in my life in such a tragic scene. Because he's divulging a lot of information that's sad and sucks. But he's also like, I'm a little ingenue. You know, like, I'm just a little baby in the middle of the road with a little tiny flask. And I'm, like, a little drunk. But, like, it's chill. It's cool.
Because why did the director say, okay, now go lie on the asphalt? And he was like, no, I know exactly what to do. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, I made it real fruity, just like you asked. And I'm like, what? What was that?
That was not in the script, Ian. No one said to do that. I
appreciate your artistic directions, for sure. But maybe not that way. But thank God he did, you know?
He didn't have to kill her.
Right. And she was so close, right? Because he was on the verge of being like, you know what? This is not good. I'm really projecting a lot of my own issues onto this random woman. It's like, okay, growth, bud, for sure. Totally. On the right page. And he's like, all right. Because also it's so scary, too, that, like, he did the whole, oh, you can't move kind of thing. So she is still, like, fully conscious.
Listen to this villain do his whole spiel. It's really bad.
Right, like doing a proper, like, Bond villain monologue. And she's still just, like, immobile. And it's like, this sucks. For sure. I'm scared that I'm gonna die or something is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you see it in his eyes being like, oh, I am feeling a lot of things, and maybe it's not her fault, and I don't need to take this out on her in this moment. And it's like, bet, okay, you're free to go, for sure. And she's like, thank you so much. I hope you're okay. You seem like you're in a really tough spot. I'm gonna go run to my car now. And he's like, wait, actually, what if I killed you instead, actually? I changed my mind. Whoopsie. I craved it. I need to feel something.
Damon.
Whoops. Buddy boy.
Damon, you can't just talk at women.
Yeah, we were so close to finding out something.
You make fun of your brother a lot for writing in his journal, but have you considered?
Right. Have you considered that might be helpful for you?
And you don't even have to write. You can just get a tape recorder. You can just talk.
Yeah. Oh my god, if he did like a captain's log situation, you can't.
Oh my god.
That would solve like 90% of his problems.
You don't need to trap women to talk at them.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if she lived, though, and called her friend and be like, you cannot believe what the fuck just happened to me?
Right. I just had the wildest experience of
because he didn't compel her to forget it, so you know she'd call her friends and be like, I just had the scariest thing happen to me.
Yeah, she would have had full knowledge, which would have been so funny. She's like, hey, it's like a weird rumor going around.
You're never going to believe what just happened to me.
Yeah. It was a little nuts, a little wild. God, could you imagine if there was like a vampire therapist in these mix here? Like one of these people, one of these maybe not one of the originals, but someone who's been around for a minute, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of unprocessed feelings, you know? Just have like all of their homes look like they have like the little couch that you just like chill at and be like, all right, let me process my shit.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a lot of spaces to ponder, a lot of good walking back and forth spaces. You know, just have someone being like, hey bud, I know it's like, it sucks. How about we don't take that out on innocent people?
If anyone needs it, these two need to be signed up first and foremost. I'll tell you that.
Right. Right. They need to be on the studies.
It was, I don't miss this version of Damon. I'll tell you that. But he almost had a breakthrough. I'll tell you that. He so said close. It, but then he did still kill her, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, sometimes that happens to you.
Yeah. Does that ever happen to you?
Who among us?
After you open up, the avoidant part of yourself just makes you want to just remove the person that you were vulnerable with from the situation.
Yeah. So there's no evidence of that vulnerability ever occurring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who among us?
Who among us? Listen, Damon, I get it. I get it.
I understand the thought process for sure, but
I don't agree with it. Is the thing. I'm really scared because next week is literally, and I didn't know writers could do this. They did title next week's episode Daddy Issues.
Well, this is going to be fun for everyone, for the whole family. Love it.
I mean, I'm glad that, like, we know what our title for next week is. Like,
yeah, it's already rocking and rolling.
So they did save us some time there. I'm worried about Damon.
Yeah.
I hope that Stefan gets his shit together.
Yeah.
I would like to see Bonnie and Jeremy.
Yeah.
Every person in this town has daddy issues, though. So this episode could be about...
This is going to be a full convention of daddy issues.
Yeah, is it a therapist convention? Is that what's going to finally happen?
Oh my god, yeah.
Is
just
that
like
the
a
event
tiny
this
little
week?
breakthroughs.
That'd be great. Oh, I'm so nervous. We have some amazing patrons to thank. Would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you to Sean Salvatore.
Ooh, thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Ow. Thank you to Katya Carr.
Ooh, thank you to Ashton Vogel.
Ow. Thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Ooh, thank you to Danielle Burke.
Ooh. Thank you to Janae Bennett.
Ooh, thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Pew, pew. Thank you to Dan Zeklos.
Ooh, and last but certainly not least, thank you to Emily Ozera.
Pew, pew, pew.
So, I have a fanfiction for you this week.
Hell yeah.
That is not related to this episode because
Thank
the
you for
one that
sparing me.
Yeah, it honestly, I did find one, but it literally it was too painful for me to read. So this one is by the author Younger Dr. Gray, and it is titled For the First and Final Time. The summary is, Damon can't stop thinking about Catherine saying, "Kiss me, Damon, she'll feel that too." He wants Elena to feel it, feel his love just once. And for those of you that might have forgotten, this is from the Masquerade episode.
Yeah.
There are no chapters in this. He chuckles a bit, low in his throat, and his eyes meet Catherine's. A split-second interaction where her lips quirk up and his eyebrows narrow. Then he's on her, lips scorching and passionate, eliciting a mewl that echoes through the room. His hands wander, caressing around the healed wounds on her shoulder and her back. Those motions are soft, loving, because he loves Elena so much. So much that it hurts every time he speaks to her, every time she speaks to Stefan, every time he breathes. But he doesn't want her to hurt. He wants her to smile. He wants her to feel. He wants her happy. So he separates from Catherine's lips and finds her neck. Ghost kisses up and down it before stopping at her ear. He doesn't yank her head back, but he wants to. Boy, does he want to. He whispers to Catherine, "I hope you enjoyed that because you will never feel that again." How does it feel to know that your playthings have outgrown you and that they will never come back? Hurts, doesn't it? He lets Catherine go and walks back to the other side of the room in silence. Stefan has long since grown quiet himself. Not that Damon pays his brother any mind. Damon glances around. Now where's that witch? Meanwhile, outside, Elena is left breathless against the ground for reasons other than her bleeding wounds. End scene.
Ugh. Fuck.
Hey, remember when it was like 3 days and Elena was in that bleeding, like dried blood shirt that she was in?
Yeah. She was like, "Can anyone let me change?" It's like, "No, girl, you're in this."
Can anyone get me a different shirt? Please and thank you.
I'm not asking for much here, guys.
But Rose and Trevor were like, "No, fuck you," actually. I'm very nervous about next week.
Yeah.
But hey, Rose, thanks for your service. I'm sorry to see another character die, but I'm glad that you lasted more than one episode. I'll say that.
Hey, you had a somewhat substantial arc.
You were the longest character, longest woman that we've seen on this show, so thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a true accomplishment.
It's a record thus far. As always, send in your fan fiction, send in your backstories, tell your friends about the show. That'd be great. And as we say here in the Pacific Northwest,
get big.
Ooh.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.